Did you know that the founder of Adidas and the founder of Puma were brothers? And they were rivals who never spoke again after a huge falling out. This isn't just a story about sneakers. It's a story of family feuds, world wars, and a global empire built from a small German town. Let's dive into the incredible history of Adidas. Our story starts in the small town of Herzogenaurach, Germany, right after World War I. A young man named Adolf Dassler, or Adi for short, started making sports shoes in his mother's laundry room. His vision was simple: create the best possible shoe for every athlete. Adi was a craftsman, an innovator, constantly tinkering with designs to improve performance. In 1924, his older brother, Rudolf Rudi Dassler, joined the business. They called their company Gebruder Dassler Schuhfabrik, which means Dassler Brothers Shoe Factory. Adi was the quiet technical genius, while Rudi was the extroverted salesman. Together, they were a perfect team. Their big break came at the 1936 Berlin Olympics. Adi packed a suitcase full of his new spiked shoes and drove to the Olympic Village. He convinced a young American sprinter named Jesse Owens to try them. It was a bold move, especially in Nazi Germany. Owens went on to win 4 gold medals, and the Dassler brothers' shoes were suddenly famous worldwide. Business boomed, but then World War II tore everything apart. The brothers' relationship, already strained by their different personalities and their wives' dislike for each other, completely fractured during the war. There are many stories about what caused the final split. Some say it was a misunderstanding during an Allied bomb raid. Others say it was jealousy and mistrust. Whatever the reason, by 1948, the Dassler brothers had become bitter enemies. They split the company. Rudolf took his share of the employees and set up a new factory on the other side of the Urach River, which runs through their hometown. He first named his company Ruda, from his name Rudolf Dassler, but later changed it to Puma. A legendary rivalry was born. Adi Dassler stayed in the original factory. He registered his new company in 1949. He combined his nickname, ADI, with the first 3 letters of his last name, Das, and Adidas was born. He also created the now iconic 3-stripe logo, initially just to stabilize the shoe, but it soon became a trademark. The town of Herzogenaurach was divided. If you worked for Adidas, you lived on one side of the river. If you worked for Puma, you lived on the other. People would check each other's shoes before starting a conversation. They called it the town of bent necks. Adidas continued to innovate. At the 1954 World Cup final, the German national football team wore Adidas boots with revolutionary screwed studs. It was a rainy day, and the adjustable studs gave them a huge advantage on the slippery pitch. Germany pulled off a miracle win against a heavily favored Hungarian team, an event known as the Miracle of Bern. Adidas became a household name. Throughout the 50s, 60s, and 70s, Adidas dominated the world of sports. From Muhammad Ali in the boxing ring to Stan Smith on the tennis court, the world's greatest athletes wore the 3 stripes. The brand expanded from just shoes to apparel and other equipment. The classic Adidas tracksuit became a cultural icon, a symbol of athletic cool. When Adi Dassler passed away in 1978, his son Horst took over. Horst was a marketing visionary. He understood that sports were becoming big business and big entertainment. He signed massive sponsorship deals with international sports federations like FIFA and the International Olympic Committee. This cemented Adidas's position not just as a product maker, but as an integral part of the global sports landscape. Horst was also instrumental in turning athletes into global superstars and brand ambassadors. But the 80s brought new challenges. The fitness craze was booming, and a competitor from America was running circles around everyone: Nike. With their focus on jogging and celebrity endorsements like Michael Jordan, Nike captured the American market, a market Adidas had overlooked. At the same time, another brand, Reebok, was dominating the aerobics scene. Adidas, with its focus on traditional sports like football and track, seemed to have lost its way. It looked old-fashioned. The company struggled after Horst's sudden death in 1987. For the first time, Adidas was on the verge of bankruptcy. The Dassler family sold the company in the early 90s to a French investor named Bernard Tapie, who, unfortunately, wasn't able to turn things around. The real comeback began in 1993, when a man named Robert Louis Dreyfus took over as CEO. He knew Adidas had a rich history, a heritage that its competitors lacked. He decided to embrace it. Instead of just focusing on performance, they also started marketing their classic retro styles like the Stan Smith and the Superstar. Suddenly, Adidas wasn't just for athletes anymore. It was for everyone. This shift was supercharged by the world of music and street culture. In 1986, the hip-hop group Run DMC released a song called My Adidas. They loved the Superstar shoes, wearing them without laces, and they became a signature part of their look. This was one of the first major links between a sportswear brand and the music industry. It showed that Adidas had a cultural currency that went far beyond the sports field. In the 90s, Britpop bands and rave culture also adopted the Adidas tracksuit and Gazelle sneakers, solidifying the brand's place in youth culture. Adidas was cool again. They started segmenting their brand to appeal to different audiences. You had the performance division for serious athletes with cutting-edge technology. And you had Adidas Originals, which celebrated the brand's heritage with the classic trefoil logo. This allowed them to be both a serious sports brand and a fashionable lifestyle brand at the same time. In the 2000s, Adidas continued to push boundaries. They acquired Reebok in 2005 to better compete with Nike in the American market. They pioneered collaborations, pairing up with fashion designers like Stella McCartney and Yohji Yamamoto for the Y3 line. These collaborations blurred the lines between high fashion and sportswear, a trend that is now everywhere. Then came the partnership that changed the sneaker game forever, Adidas and Kanye West. The Yeezy line, launched in 2015, created unprecedented hype. The combination of Kanye's design vision and Adidas's Boost technology, an incredibly comfortable foam for the sole of the shoe, created a cultural phenomenon. Sneakerheads would line up for days to get their hands on a pair. This partnership proved that Adidas could create the same level of hype and desire as its biggest rivals. Today, Adidas is a global giant. From its humble beginnings in a laundry room, it has become one of the most recognizable brands on the planet. It's a brand that has been on the feet of Olympic champions, World Cup winners, music legends, and fashion icons. But the story of Adidas is more than just shoes and tracksuits. It's a story of innovation, of a relentless drive to be the best. It's a story of a bitter family rivalry that fueled competition and created two global empires. And it's a story of resilience, of a brand that almost died but found its way back by embracing its past to define its future. From Adi Dassler tinkering with spikes in his workshop to collaborations with the biggest names in pop culture, the three stripes have always stood for something more. They represent a legacy of performance, a badge of authenticity, and a symbol of street-style cool. The rivalry with Puma still exists, the two headquarters still facing each other across the river in that small German town, a permanent reminder of where it all began. And that's the fascinating story of Adidas. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through sneaker history, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next video. Let us know in the comments what brand we should cover next. See you in the next one.